Hi, Gary here. It's that time again when families get together at the holiday season, and it reminds me of a good friend of mine who he's got a pretty good extended family, and once a year they take an extended vacation together. And believe it or not, in the morning of each day they have an hour where they talk about money, and money in a bunch of different ways. And he's got a lot of games and things he does, which is pretty cool and unique. And the family actually likes it, believe it or not. But the whole rest of the day is then, for fun and frolicking and having a lot of things that people want to do on vacation. But what's happened in his family is they really have gotten much more connected and understand where he and his spouse and what's going to happen with the money when they pass and so forth and so on. It's kind of neat to watch that change over the last 10 years or so that I've known him. Well, so, what does that mean for you? Well, it's a really tough subject to bring up because there's so many emotions tied to money. Money's in everything, but it also is disconnected in some cases. There's a lot of fear about it, how to bring it up. We worry about trust fund babies. We worry about people living for our money or whatever people, i.e. our families and so forth. But it's a good time for families typically at the holiday because it's one time that they can get together, all of them, and talk about it. Now, first steps really come down to putting usually an estate plan together. I mean, saying, hey, if something happens to me, my spouse, whatever, here's what happens to the money as it goes along. And that's the first step, of course. This is now going a little beyond it, saying, well, where do we then connect it even further during life, if we wanted to do that? And that's where we get into the three basics that most people need to understand about money. And that's the balance sheet, the assets, the cash flow, what's coming in and out, and the taxes. How this money gets taxed in many different ways. And so at this time, it might be that you would say to the family, hey, going to the future, we want to get you a little more involved in what's going on with our estate, with our money and so forth. Not going to talk about it here today, but we might be meeting here in the future. Now you can have a family meeting separately to go over that, what you want to do. But basically it can start as simply as just providing statements. Just copies of statements. It could be an organized statement, that makes things simple. And it could be just a portion of the estate so they can start seeing how things work. They can see the investment management, they can see the cash flow, they can see the assets, all these various things. And then it can continue on further than that to see how it will progress along depending on where the family's at. But it's at these times around the holidays where we kind of reflect on what's happened over the past year or years and move to the future. It's a good time to do it. Now you might be asking yourself, I just don't know how to start these conversations, or I might have some issues, and obviously you can talk about that and figure out how it might work for you. But we did write a book a few years ago called Changing the Conversation. And that particular book was about lots of conversations around money. And there's several chapters in there. If you read through, it might give you some ideas of how to do that. Certainly you can call us or call your other advisors and ask about some practical ways to then just start introducing this stuff to your family. So I thought this was something to think about over the holidays, and I hope you have a great holiday. Until next time, enjoy.